I've seen the video of the young woman who was basically making fun of a guy because he works at a pizza shop. Now, I have to say a couple of things about this, and I'm going to try to make my ting brief, so I appreciate those of you who actually hear me out. If you are under the age of 35, and I'm saying 35 because that time frame, maybe you got out of school, you fucked around and found out, you're getting on the right track, you're getting your shit together. I get it. The economy is economying. I also have friends who are in their early 30s who are still living at home with their parents and paying off student loans. I'm going to give you about the age of 35. Under the age of 35, if you work at a pizza shop, totally acceptable. I get that. Over the age of 35, there's a lot of nuance to this because there might be people who have a very fancy job title, but they ain't got no money and they're in debt. I worked in the banking industry. I've worked in the luxury jewelry industry, sales. I know people who were like, I work as a whoop-de-doo-de-doo-de-doo and don't have a fucking dime. Credit score is -27. And I know people with very humble jobs according to what society deems as, a good job title and a not so good job title, who got money saved, and they be going on vacations and they be putting their kids through school and paying cash for their kids' educations. So I know, don't necessarily get it twisted. Don't be judging people by their job title. I know people who are rebuilding after a divorce, single moms who are rebuilding, and they have to take whatever job that they can get so that they can put food on the table and provide for their children. One of my mutuals on here had to work at Starbucks making $9 an hour until she was able to get back on her feet and rebuild her life. I had to work at a fucking clothing store with a bunch of high schoolers back in 2008 so that I could get back on my feet. But I was also under the age of 35. I think I was 28. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I understand the nuance to this whole guy working at a pizza shop situation. There are people who are rebuilding their lives after addiction and they had a mental health crisis, and there's so many things to this situation. However, I know a lot of people cut me off and already commented and stopped listening at this point. So if you have listened at this point, I appreciate you. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Now, let's continue. I will say this. If you are in one of those serious situations where you are rebuilding your life, you need not be dating. You can call me whatever you want to call me. And I'm saying this as someone who has been in a situation where I've had to rebuild my life and who also tried to date. And it was the worst fucking thing I could have done. Because I was so desperate to get a man to provide for me, I was able to ignore a lot of red flags. I needed to be focused on getting my money up and rebuilding my credit, not who's on a dating app, swiping left and swiping right. That should have been the least of my priorities at that time in my life. Again, we're talking about people over 35. Now, if you have one of those jobs and you're financially stable, sure, great. But if you are in that situation because you are rebuilding, your focus needs to be rebuilding. Now, if the love of your life happens to walk through the doors of the pizza shop, hey, the stars have aligned. That's the time when you're supposed to meet the one. But I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. I'm a black woman in America. I'm used to this shit at this point. It is what it is. If I'm dating a guy and getting to know a guy, and he's like, hey, I work at a pizza shop because I ain't got no money. I'm bankrupt. I'm rebuilding my life. I went through this. I went through that. I'm rebuilding from the... It's very nice to meet you, Tom. Continue to stay focused, and I wish you all the best in life. You can talk to me about but love all you fucking want to. Love, you can't take that to your leasing office or to the bank to pay your mortgage or to pay your car note or to pay your light bill. If your car breaks down, unless you're sleeping with the mechanic, love is not going to make that mechanic fix your car for you. When you open the refrigerator and there ain't nothing in it but a dead fly in the corner, love is not going to be acceptable as a form of payment when you go to buy groceries. When you have kids and that baby is screaming at 1 o'clock in the morning and you run to CVS or whatever store is open to get formula, and you go to the cashier and say, "But I love my husband, can I get this formula?" I mean, somebody might have a heart and pay for the formula, probably not. But usually you're not going to be able to get that formula because you love your partner. I love love. I believe in love. I do. But I also know that in this crazy ass capitalist society that we live in, cash is king. I also know that you adopt the financial situation of whatever person you choose to spend your life with. Financial issues cause men to kill their partners. The stress and the frustration of not being able to pay their bills happens all the time. The stress of having to support a family when you don't have the ends meeting at the end of the month causes people to fake their own deaths. Maybe they don't even do that. They just ditch town and leave their families behind in the dust. The stress of providing for a family causes people to beat their partners because they don't know how to properly express that they are stressed out because they can't afford to pay their bills. So they begin to abuse their partner and take it out on them. The stress of paying bills causes two people who were once in love with googly eyes staring at each other to be at a screaming match, sleeping in separate rooms. Not because, sleep patterns are different, because I have a mutual who sleeps in her own room because she has to sleep and she can't sleep otherwise. But it has people who were once lovers turning into haters of each other. So when you are young, when you are just starting out, dating somebody who is working at a pizza shop, sure, go for it. My daughter is 17. I have a son who is 18. They ain't got no monies. So I get that. But after a certain age, if you are struggling to survive, and a lot of people are, I get it, you need to be focusing on that. And you can tell me the love stories about how I met my husband Tom and he was this, that, and the third, yada, yada, yada. And he didn't have two nickels to rub together and we've been happy. Good. I'm glad that worked out. But statistically, situations like that get women killed and abused and cheated on and left, or in more debt and financial ruin. So I understand love, but this is something I tell you guys all the time, and I tell women who reach out to me to work with them to help them sort out their relationship woes. I understand love, but as women, especially Black women, we got to start using our heads. Because if we start using our actual heads, we would not be in a lot of the shitty situations that a lot of us are in now or have been in before. I said what I said. Hate me if you want to.